Well, hello, folks. I'm L.A. Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, and we do it from a neoclassical perspective each time. We ask ourselves what happened today, and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do this show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. Sign up to channel L.A. Little. You can subscribe to it there. You can get it anytime, anywhere, any device, at your convenience, folks. As far as these markets, they are conveniently going up again. Russell was the leader. If you remember on Friday, we actually had the opposite situation where the small caps, technology, they were the laggards. Well, today it's exactly the opposite. Small caps, technology, the leaders. Russell, NASDAQ, and so forth. If you look at the Dow Jones, S&Ps, they barely broke even, but it's all green again. It's all good. It's all green, right? Always continuing. Elsewhere, kind of a mixed picture. Bonds held up today, which was kind of interesting. They were down early. The dollar was off a little bit. Oil slides. So is the UNL. We've got OPEC later this week. Commodities under a little bit of a pressure. But the big story in this market is the market, and that is that the market just continues higher. If we look at the S&P 500, it's inching right back up to test the highs from Friday. Going to probably get that test tomorrow, and we can just go right across the board. Every one of these charts pretty much looks the same. The Dow actually had a doji today, didn't go anywhere, but it's still hanging right there at the highs. NASDAQ composite had that ugly candle Friday, no problem. Go back up, set a new high tonight. NDX goes back up, inches right back up to the top of that high, is ready to test it tomorrow. Russell up there, ready to test and try to break higher. It's the same story over and over and over, day after day after day. I don't know that there's any way for me to say it any way different. Folks, the market just wants to go up. Nobody wants to sell. When nobody wants to sell, that means you have excess demand relative to supply. There are no sellers. There is no supply. Market just inches up on that. We're also in holiday trading now. And so, from that perspective, everything's going to keep, inching up probably because there's no volume. There's no volatility. Now, we get a lot of data, in particular tomorrow and Wednesday. Then again, there'll be some data on Thursday. OPEC doing its thing on Friday, Thursday and Friday. So there's going to be a lot of data even though it's a holiday shortened week. But right now, there's just nothing to stop this market. And until there is, if you're not playing it to the long side, it's probably pretty painful. If I pull over to the sectors and look at these, it's the same story here too. We've had the rotation, right? We had the big push up, and this is the IBB, big push up, consolidation. Now what is it doing? Going to inch back up there and test the highs. And if I go down every one of these 12 sectors, there's not a one that's weak. IYT pressing highs, SOX extends its highs, XLB just hanging at the highs. XLE is the only one that hasn't really been able to get going, but it's up there still hanging and testing at the highs. The financials, same story, at the highs, hanging. XLI, same story, at the highs. XLK, at the highs. XLP, at the highs. I think you get the picture. XLY extends. Same story over and over. It doesn't matter where you look, whether you're looking at the indexes, whether you're looking at the sectors, whether you push over and you look at the world markets. We can look at the CACs in France. We see it's pressing towards the highs again. We got the DAX doing the same thing. The FTSE was just flat today, a little bit down. But everywhere is pressing. Why is that? Well, China cuts rates, China goes up. HSI goes up, HSCE goes up. Over and over, folks, it's the same thing. Nikkei hanging at the highs. Taiwan breaking out. I can't say it any other way. So I'm going to leave it at that. There's really not much else to say. Until something changes, you have to expect the same thing to happen. Insanity, yeah, it is. But it continues, and until it changes, it is what it is. I want to pop over the only thing, when I was looking through these before I got on the air here, the only thing that has any semblance, excuse me, of concern, and even there, it's only minor, is the frontier market, right? The heavy risk markets, these are still getting hit. And as these currencies move around and as the Fed looks as if it's going to tighten, there's ripples in nations that really can't protect themselves. They don't have big central banks. They're like coming to the fight where everybody else is carrying guns. They're carrying little knives, pocket knives at that. And so frontier markets are getting hit. One other area that I saw is that the bonds refused to back down today. They were trying to sell them back down. They flipped around. They're going to go up and test that high and try to get higher. Now, if the bonds start to shoot up, well, that may be a signal. But so far, it's a relatively calm and plain move to the upside. Oil presses down again today. But, volume's not there. This looks to me like oil's going to probably, consolidate here into the OPEC meeting, and I don't know if it'd be sitting at the lows or sitting right here to try to break higher, but either way it's probably going to have a heavy move off those meetings, whatever comes out of that meeting Thursday and Friday. So that's pretty much the markets. I was going to put something together to try to talk about the markets in terms of how do you deal with something like this. When you just get this grind that just goes on, and there's no volatility for anyone to do anything. How do you continue to trade it? Do you do you just have positions and you hold them and then you watch them kind of go up and down, or some of them just go up and up and up, or is there something else you can do? And I think the thing that you do is you have to, and let's just take one of these, like say the SPY. When it's doing this sort of thing, and you see consolidation, because we've had no pullbacks. You had one pullback out of this whole move, folks. We've been up over 6 weeks now. We had one retrace. One. It's nothing. And here we are, what is this? I don't know how many points that is. I can't even count them anymore. 181.5 to, what is that, 25, yeah, it's 250, not 250, but 25 points on the S&P. 250 points on the S&P 5, on the index. On the SPY here, 25 points. It's a huge move, and there's really no place to get in. So if you get a pullback, you buy it immediately. And that has been the case. There was a pullback here on Thursday that closed up, traded down to the lows. Once you saw it hold, then you can take a position. But that's the only way you can trade this on the indexes themselves. But you don't have to trade the indexes. I mean, that carries a lot of risk. What you can do is you can pull over and look at something that, like say Intel, for example. Intel made that big run up along with the markets, but it had a big pullback, and then it had another pullback. All those in a strong stock that's telling us good things, those are opportunities to get in. That's the sort of thing that you use, to get into a stock. You're not going to catch every move, but if you're rotating just like the stock, the market rotates, but you're doing it in individual stocks that have given good stories and continue to look higher, that's the sort of trades that you can make. Here's another one, Yahoo. Now this had a huge run. Gets a pullback, it's coming back up to test. But the first pullback you get usually is going to hold in this kind of a market. And this one did. That's a way, to get in. If we look at, I'm trying to think of some others off the top of my head. Here's one, Baidu. Baidu's had a big, strong move. So it goes up, it breaks over the highs, doesn't come back and retest regen, but gets up here, hangs, and then fades back in. Well, that's an opportunity to get long. As it fades into this big bar, I mean, this is classic neoclassical stuff, folks. You fade into the big bar the first time back after extension, right? That's usually the first place they're going to try to buy it. It doesn't mean it's going to make it to the highs or even higher, but it certainly is a place that one could make an entry. And that's the sort of thing you have to be looking for. You have to keep moving into stocks that give you opportunities. You don't put all your money into one. You may not catch it at the right time, but you can continue to move into something. Oh, here's another one. How about Whole Foods? I'm trying to think of the symbol of it. WFM, I believe. They reported good earnings. Caught a bunch of people on the wrong side of the trade. They get the first move, back down, you can take an entry. 46.5, you're back up $1.50 already. Yeah, it's not the end of, it's not, it's 2% or something, right? It's not huge, but it's a decent move. It's the sort of thing, that you can make some money on in a market that isn't giving you anything from the index perspective. If it's not, don't concentrate on the index. Go somewhere else. There's plenty of opportunities. As a matter of fact, if you're part of TA Today, if you have, the tools that are available to you, even those of you who are just registered on the site, you can pop in here to some of these and find things. For example, you can use the scanner, or you can use the sector trends. You can go in, you can find strong sectors like transports. Just go into the transports. If you're looking for something to trade and you haven't been able to, find something that's momentarily weak. So in other words, on the short-term time frame, find something that's going from bullish to sideways. And I'm looking, here's one. I don't know what it looks like. If I pull it up and look at it, what is that, UPS? No, it's not UPS, it's CHR. And I've got the wrong thing up. Let me pull it up over here and pull it over and see what it looks like. CHRW. And if I pull it in and look at it, so here we go. So here you go. September, everybody traded down in September. This one didn't trade down very much. Then it makes a huge run. What does it do? Comes back. What does it do? Retest, regen. You can find these. You just have to do some work. Now, if you have some of our more advanced tools, it's easier, but even one just using the free tools that are available to them, you can go find some of these things. You just pop in there and you can use your own chart system. You can use us to do the scans and use your own chart system to go look at them, because you only get so many here. And of course, you're not going to get the sort of layout I have, and maybe you want to bump up and buy the tools, but there are trades to be made is the point. You just have to go look for them. And if you do it yourself, or if you use my portfolio to do it, whatever, there's trades to be made. And you can continue to work those trades in a strong market that gives you nothing on the indexes. Folks, it's going to be a short week this week. I'll have a show tomorrow night. After that, taking the rest of the week off. Thanksgiving. Again, I thank you for helping me do what I do and being able to, in some small way, hopefully serve you. Have yourself a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll see where this market wants to go. But in summary, until something fails, folks, you just got to think it's going up, and that's what it continues to do. Have yourself a great one. Take care.